So this is your quiz code. Okay, 396685. So using joinmyquiz.com, kindly join the quiz by entering the following code. Thank you. So Murli Krishna sir has joined.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So our quizzes, I just want to have a very simple discussion about this quizzes session. So this is your third quiz that we are conducting, and in all these quizzes, we have posted very simple questions related to the module one of your FDP. So whatever we teach in one particular week, related to all those topics, a very simple quiz has been conducted. But what is the analysis that we have gone through? These three quizzes is always the accuracy rate is around 40 percentage. The answering accuracy is around 40 percentage. So as teachers we feel that this rate has to be increased, because we know that after finishing a week we have a quizzes on every Monday. So I kindly request all teachers to put a slight effort and prepare for this quizzes and come. Okay, so whatever that you have gained through those 5 days, you are recollecting those stuffs and trying to answer it over here. That is what I feel, because since the accuracy is around 40 percentage, so if you put a little effort and prepare yourself and come and attend this quiz, I think hopefully all most of the people can answer all the 10 questions, because all the questions that we post over here are very simple questions related to that module 1 topic. Okay, so thank you. So we'll move on with the session. So we are actually coming up to the close of the module 1. Okay, so whatever that we have learned till now will be termed as the basics of Python. So if you want to explore yourself more with respect to Python, so you have to have a better uh, clearance with respect to the fundamentals. So fundamentals are very important. Whatever programming language that you try to fit and work, learning the fundamentals is very important, over which you can build the other stuff. So module 1 is much important for you to proceed with the other modules. So that is what we insist. Try to prepare yourself and proceed with these kind of quizzes. Okay, so I'll move on with today's session. So the topic that we're going to discuss in today's session is about, once again, this is day 15. Okay, so the topic that we will discuss in module 1 on day 15 will be about modules and packages. So first we have to know about, before getting into the study of modules and packages, so we should have a, am I clearly audible, or you people need more clarity in what I speak?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes. Now, hello. Is it fine? Shall I proceed?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. Yeah, okay. So the topic that we're going to discuss, that the focus of this today's session is about organizing a code. Okay, so whenever we work with projects, okay, so how a team will actually work in developing a specific application, which we generally term as a project. Okay, so the organizing the code, though it's not completely related with the computers. Okay, organizing the code is completely necessary for people who are communicating and working in a particular project. So on that basis, and that is the need for the topics called as modules and packages that we are going to discuss today. So I'll just start with a very simple example. Okay, so when we speak about organization of codes, what it actually means, let me consider that you are working on a project. So whenever I say that we are developing a project, so project in sense of any domain. Okay, so it can be any discipline. If it's going to be a project related to a mechanical domain, or a civil domain, or a electronics domain, or it's going to be a computer science domain. So I'm going to speak from the perspective of computer science domain. Okay, so I am going to work as a team member in a project, or I can say I am the team lead, or I am the team manager of a particular project. Okay, so the term organization is very, very important when it comes to develop or implement any project, because when I speak about organization actually applies over two main things in a project. One is the activities that you're going to perform in a project. So from the sense of computer science, I will implement my activities in the form of codes. Okay, I'll be implementing the activities in the form of coding. Okay, and the second group of organization should take place between the people who are working in that particular project. Okay, so when I say organization of code, so why I need this code to be organized, why I need and for what purpose I need my code to be organized, the answer is very simple. Whenever we develop a project or an application, it will be a complex one. Okay, you can involve 100 people to work on it, you can involve 5 people to work on it. It depends upon the uh, requirement of your project. So organizing your data, organizing your code, organizing the people within a project is very, very important. So in that, we are going to concentrate only on the organization of code. So whatever code that we are writing, that makes up your application or that makes up your project. Okay, so that code should be organized, well defined. Okay, so that the people who are working around it can work towards it in with utmost confident and in a more efficient way. Okay, so whatever code that we are developing for a project, okay, so that code should be understandable. So for the code to be understandable, the first point that we insist over that is we have to organize the code in such a way that everyone who are working in that particular project can understand the code. Okay, and they can maintain it, and at the same time they can maintain it with more confidence. Okay, because one a single project cannot develop, any project across any discipline cannot be developed by one people. You need a team to work against it. Okay, so when you need a team to work against it, everyone in the team should understand your project first, so that the implementation or the operations or the executions goes on in the correct way, and everyone should be confident enough on the work or on the part that you're going to play with the project. Okay, so for that purpose, from the field of computer science, organizing your code is very, very important. So whatever programming language that you're going to use to implement a particular project or an application, obviously organizing the code, okay, is very, very important. Okay, so this is the need for organizing the code. So now how we are going to work with organizing the code in Python is what we are going to learn in today's class. Okay, so organizing the code in Python involves two important concepts, or we can say it as two important terminologies called as packages and modules. Okay, so the organization of code actually means the task is very simple. Okay, you're going to apply modularity over here. Modularity over here actually means if you have been given with a big project, obviously you cannot handle the complete project within one single file. So what you have to do is that is, you can't build a solution for a project, okay, within one particular concept or one particular idea. So what you will actually do is you will divide your complex task into smaller ones and try to bring out the solutions for the smaller ones, and then finally you will integrate everything. Okay, so you will integrate everything together, and then that becomes a complete project. Okay, so for that purpose you require from the perspective of implementation, you actually require some stuffs. Okay, so you require some concepts and terms to work with this process called as organization of code. Okay, so packages and modules are going to take the role of organizing a code in Python. Okay, so the definitions of both packages and modules are very simple. What is actually a package? We all are working with the user friendly operating system called as Windows. Okay, so in Windows, how do I store my file? Where do I store my file? In Windows, where do actually we store our files? I want answers. I'm asking a question. My question is very simple. You can give the answers in chat, or someone can unmute yourself and answer. My question is very simple. You people are working with, you're working on the operating system called as Windows, or any other operating system called Linux, Unix, Ubuntu, etc., etc. So now, how do you, if I prepare a Word document, okay, and if I want to save it, so what are all the process I actually follow? Okay, I will save it in a drive. Okay, so within a drive, in most cases, if I want to organize my code, what I will do within my drive, I will create a folder, and I will put all my stuff related to one particular work into that particular folder. For example, I want to maintain the cat marks of my particular subject. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a folder called as a subject name. Within that subject name, I will have a folder called as cat marks, and inside that cat marks, I will maintain the set of files. I had three continuous assessment tests, cat 1, cat 2, cat 3. So all the marks can be grouped into that particular folder. Okay, so the same thing is applied, same definition. What I say for folder and directory. Okay, I can use the term directory or I can use the term folder over here. So that folder actually means packages. Okay, so package. How do I define a package? A package is a folder. Okay, to consider that package as a folder, or to say that that particular package is a folder, to define that particular package as a folder, what you have to contain inside that package, you have to contain an empty file whose name is underscore init underscore dot py. So this is very simple. For example, uh, let me open a folder over here. Okay, so this is, I want to create a folder over here. So that folder, I'm going to call that folder as a package. Okay, what I'm going to do, going to call that folder as a package. So now I will create, simply I'm saying, I'm creating with a name called as pack1. Okay, so now I have created a folder in Windows. Okay, now I've created a folder in Windows. But to consider this pack1, okay, to define this pack1 as a package, what I'm saying, to define this pack1 folder as a package in Python, what I have to do, I have to store a file name, okay, with the name called as underscore init underscore. Okay, what is the name of the file? The name of the file is very clear. I have to put underscore init, okay, INIT underscore. This is the name of the file. If it should be a Python file, it should be extended with the dot py. So this is actually an empty file. What is this? This is actually an empty file. So this empty file should be present within your folder. Okay, if a folder contains an empty file called as underscore init underscore dot py, then that folder can be termed as a Python package. Is it clear? That folder can be termed as a Python package. So that is a package. So at present situation, what you people have to understand is a folder can be defined as a package. So what will be a module? So definition of module is also very simple. So whatever .py file that you have within your package will be termed as a module. Okay, I hope you can understand. Whatever program that you write in Python can be termed as a module. Is it clear? Whatever program, okay, that you write and you save it in a file with .py extension, then that file can be termed as a module. Okay, so this is the definition of module and package. So package is actually what? It's going to be the normal folder. So if you want to define a normal folder as a Python package, then you have to put in an empty file called as underscore init underscore dot py inside it. If such a file is present within a folder, then that folder can be termed as a Python package. And what is a module? .py extension files can be termed as module in Python. Okay, so these are the two concepts that we're going to concentrate in today's class. Okay, so as we discussed functions, for example, when we learned about functions, we know functions were of two types, two kinds. How we said, we said we have user defined function, and we said we have built-in functions. In the same way, we will be working with packages and modules. So when I speak about packages and modules, you can create your own package and you can place modules within it. Okay, I hope you can understand my point. I can create my own package and I can place a set of files within that package and I can term that as a package. So if I do it in that way, then such a package will be called as a user defined package. Okay, and the opposite will be what? Built-in packages and modules. What is built-in packages and modules? The packages which are available already, which have been defined. Okay, the packages and modules which requires much attention, okay, which will be used universally by most of the people. Okay, such functionalities will be defined as modules and they will be placed inside packages already. Okay, already I have told you one point. What is the one of the important feature of Python is it has many built-in standard libraries. So when I say standard libraries, they are nothing but packages. Within that, there are many modules. So this is one of the biggest feature of Python. Python supports large number of libraries, okay, which have been termed as your packages and modules. So they are called as built-in packages and modules. So according to your module 1 of this FDP course, so we will concentrate on learning certain built-in modules. So we will be concentrating on some built-in modules. Okay. So in today's class, we will be discussing both. We will first discuss how to create a user-defined package and place modules into it. Okay. And then how to use those modules within another code. Okay. So the learning of packages and modules actually involves two things. Okay. Two things you have to understand. The first thing is organizing the code. Okay, so when I say organizing the code, it actually means I will be maintaining a set of files, Python files. Okay, the objects or the content or the code which is present in that file will be required by me somewhere else within the same project. If that's going to be the case, I should be able to use it. I hope you can understand. Something is available in my project itself, something is available. Okay, so this something is what I have created. I hope you can understand. When I say something, it actually means I have created a package. Let me put the name as P1. For example, I am saying I have created this package. So inside this package, I have many modules. Modules are nothing but what? நீங்க ஒரு ஃபோல்டரும் ஃபோல்டருக்குள்ள ஃபைல்ஸையும் திங்க் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. ஒரு ஃபோல்டர், அதுக்குள்ள ஃபைல் 1, this is file 2, this is file 3, this is file 4. இப்போ ஃபைல் 1 நான் எடுத்துக்கிட்டேன்னா, I'm just saying you, I will be showing that example, you can understand. File 1, this is my file 1. Let me consider inside P1, this is my file 1. For example, this file 1 is a module f1.py. So this file 1 is containing some set of functions. Okay. For example, inside this file 1, there are 4 functions. Hope I am clear. You people are following. Inside this file 1, there are 4 functions. Let me consider those functions to be the functions related to a calculator, and just we will work this out. Okay. So which has, I'm taking in of 4 functionalities: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So what I have told, all these operations that you can perform over two numbers are defined as functions inside this module. Is it clear? So P1 is a package, F1 is a module, and inside this module called as F1, you have 4 functions defined. So I can say these 4 functions as 4 objects. Okay, so I can say them as 4 objects. There are this many objects within this module. Now, what is the usage of this packages and modules? This is one way of one usage is you're organizing your code. Okay, another most important usage is there will be a necessity for me to use these functions. For example, I have another within this P1 itself. Okay, for example, I'm taking within this P1 itself, I have a file called as F4. Okay, so in this file called as F4, I need to perform, there will be a necessity for me to perform this operation called as multiplication or division, something like this. Okay, instead of writing a code for this multiplication process, what I can do is, okay, what I can do, I can just invoke, அதாவது rather than writing a new function for multiplication within this code, I can go just call the one which is already available in another module in my package. Okay, this is one module, this is another module. So this module has a function called as multiplication. Now I need this multiplication function to take place within F4 module. So rather than writing a new function for multiplication within F4, what I can do is I can just call the function multiplication which is present in another module. So how I can do it? This is a better way of using the code which you have organized. Okay, you have organized your code by creating a package, by putting all the files into the package in a proper manner. And whenever you, this is one part of your game over here. So one part is what you are learning packages and modules for organizing your code. So when I say organizing your code, giving a clear clarity for the all the people who are involved in that particular project. This is one way, putting them into different packages. Okay, so this for example, if you take this, I'm developing a banking system project, so I need a separate process for this withdrawal. Okay, I need a separate process for balance inquiry, I require separate process for cash deposit, I need a separate process for printing the mini statement. Okay, so these are different processes that are fitting into a banking system. So for each and every process I can maintain a separate package. So when I say withdrawing from an ATM, it doesn't mean you do only one process in withdrawing. You have to check the balance. Is it possible for me to withdraw the amount that you have entered or not? Okay, whether you're crossing the balance that you have to actually maintain in that particular bank. Okay, so all, there are small tasks again within the process called as withdrawal itself. So I will keep a separate package for withdrawal, I will keep a separate package for cash deposit, I will keep a separate process for, when I say process, it actually means I'm maintaining separate packages for each and every process that I have to do within a banking system. So inside that particular package, you can have many modules related to withdrawal. Okay, so this is organizing. When I look into this application, things will be organized. All the stuff related to withdrawal are put into one package. All the stuff which are related to cash deposit are put into one package. Okay, all the stuff related to balance inquiry is put into one package. All these details are related to the personal details of an person will be put into one package. So I hope, and I can't say that all these processes are not interrelated with each other. Obviously they are all interrelated with each other in some means. When I am performing a withdrawal of cash, okay, my cash will be withdrawn, but there should be a change in my account details, my balance account. Okay, so if you have the account details to be maintained in a separate package, these two are interrelated with each other. They have to talk with each other. The same stuff, I require this functionality over here, so I have invoked, rather than writing a code again for it in this F4, I am going to call, I'm just going to call what is present within F1. Okay, is it clear? This is the most important purpose. For that only we are moving on with packages and modules. So what you're going to learn in today's classes, we will learn how to create a package, okay, and how to put into modules into it, okay, and how to invoke it, how to use it, the functions, the objects that are present in one module, how we can use it. We will be going step by step. Okay, so we'll start. What we are going to discuss first, we are going to discuss about user defined function. So to create a package and include modules into it, what I have to do? So I've already told how to create a package. Okay, so how do you create a package? First, create a folder and add an empty file named underscore init underscore dot py into it. Okay, and then based on your application, you have to add modules actually implies what? Your actual code. Your actual code will be present in .py files. So in this way, I'm just showing a very simple scenario. You are developing a Python project, okay, which involves two packages. One package is related to the flights and another package is related to employee. So to consider this as a package, flight as a package, and employee as a package, the first point that you have to remember is both of them should contain this empty file. Okay, both of them should contain this empty file. And remaining, manage flight.py is a module and manage employee.py is a module which is present in employee package. Manage flights.py is a module which is present in flight package. Okay, so this is a very simple scenario. So in actual way, what you would have actually done is, this is how I have created. Now what I told, uh, we created a file called as pack1. Okay, we created a file called as pack1. So now to consider this pack1 as a package, what I have to do, I have to save an empty file. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Python file. Okay, Clear? So this is an empty file. I've opened a script over here. And now I'm going to save this script. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save this script. Where I'm going to save the script? Within pack1. Okay. And what is the name that I have to give for this particular script? Underscore init underscore dot py. I hope it's clear. So what I've done over here, I have created a package with the name pack1. So inside pack1, I am going to create an empty module with the name underscore init underscore dot py. So if I save this, an empty file is created. So now if I go and see this pack1, so I will be having this underscore init underscore, which is a Python file. So now this pack1 becomes a package, Python package. This becomes a, this pack1 can be treated as a Python package because it is containing an empty file called as underscore init underscore dot py. So this is how, this is your first step. Whenever you're going to create a user defined, okay, user defined package, this is how you will proceed with your user defined package. So now let us take a very simple situation. What I'm going to do is I will be having a package, okay, for which I'm going to give a name called as package1. Okay, so within this package, I want to create two sub packages. What name I'm going to give for this? Just repeat. I'm just giving you a very simple understandability. I'm going to create a package called as package1. Okay, so within this package, I'm going to create two sub packages. Okay, this is sub package 1. This is sub package 2. Okay, so now within this sub package 1, I'm going to create a module. In the process, இப்போ நான் உங்களுக்கு ஏற்கனவே நான் பண்ணிட்டேன், அதை உங்களுக்கு காட்ட போறேன். So within this sub package 1, I'm going to create a module. Let me name the module as calc. Okay, so module na enna? What is the meaning of module? I'm just checking you people are alert or not. It's a file. Module is a, it's not a file name. I want a correct
File.
answer.
File.
It's what kind of file? It's a
Python file.
Python file. Okay, so Python file குள்ள நம்ம என்ன எழுதிருப்போம், ஒரு Python code எழுதிருப்போம், ஒரு program எழுதிருப்போம். Okay, and here if you see, this is under your sub package 2, we will be having your module 2. I'm going to give the name as div for this module 2. So this is calc.py. Okay, and this is div.py. This is what I want to create. So to create this, what will be my first step? This is my application requires. This is what I'm trying to create. So step 1, what I have to do? I have to create a package with name package 1, and I have to place an empty file inside it underscore init underscore dot py. Okay, next inside that package 1. So I have done it. Let me show it. So let me consider that this is what I will just show you the stuff one by one. So we have created pack1. So let this be your package 1, inside which we have put in an empty file, empty py file. So this pack1 becomes an init, it becomes a package. So now what was my second step? I have to create two sub packages within my pack1. So now I will create it. I'll create two folders, new folder. Okay, so what is the name of this folder? Sub underscore pack1. Okay, this is the name of this folder. Similarly, I want to create another folder called as sub underscore pack2. So I hope now I have created here. If you see inside pack1, I know pack1 is a Python. Pack1 will be considered as a Python package because you have this init file inside it. Now I have created two folders called as sub pack1 underscore and sub underscore pack2. Now what I will do is I want to consider this two as also as Python packages. If that's going to be the case, now what I have to do, the same init file should be present within sub pack1, and similarly same init file should be present within sub pack2. Same init file actually means it's an empty file. Okay, so I will do the same. What I'll do, I'll copy this and I will put a copy over here. Similarly, I'll put a copy over here. So now what happened? Sub pack 2 will also become a Python package, and sub pack 1 would have also become a Python package. Okay, so now still my work is not over. What I said, within my sub pack 1, okay, within my sub pack 1, I want to put in a module, and the name of the module is calci.py. Okay, so now what I will do is I've already done it, so I'll take it from there. So inside package 1, I have a sub package 1. Okay, so this sub package 1 has a file called as, I'll take this, calci. This is a module. So what I'm going to do is I have to create a program called as calci. So I will show you what will be the content of this calci. So calci will be containing one sec, file. I'll put new file. Okay, open file. What I'm going to open, uh, under package 1, I will show you under sub package 1 calci. So what calci is actually containing over here? Calci is a Python file, okay, which contains the implementation of four functions. I'm sorry, we have 5 functions over here: add, subtract, multiplication, division, and modulo. So what is the content? What is contained in calci.py? People can tell. Calci.py contains how many functions? How many functions calci.py contain? 5 functions. And you contain only the function definition. Keep that point in mind. You are having only the function definition. A function, okay. Name of the function is add. How many parameters this function will accept? 2 parameters, n1 and n2. And what it actually does, it will return. I'm just writing a very simple function. So it will return the addition of this numbers that is being passed. It will add those 2 numbers and it will give me a reply. So this is one module, okay, which is called as calci. And I will show you the another module also. Another module is called as, which I have done already. So what we will do is we'll copy those stuffs and we'll put into the newly created ones. Another module, if I say module, it actually means a Python file. Another module contains, another module name is called as div. It contains 2 functions inside it. What those 2 functions are going to do? One is going to find out whether a number is even or not. If I say even or not, whether it is divisible by 2. If it is divisible by 2, this function will return 1. If it is not divisible by 2, this function will return 0. And you have another function called as div by 5. So to check whether the number is divisible by 5. So you're just writing a very simple code. So if it is divisible by 5, the remainder has to be 0. The remainder is 0, you will return 1, otherwise you will return 0. So div is another module which contains the definition of 2 functions called as even and div by 5. So now what is our requirement? We have to keep both these files within our sub packages. Okay, we have to keep both these files within our sub packages. Now what I will do is I'll take this copy of calci, now what we have created. Okay, so I will put into pack 1 is what we created. I'll put calci into sub pack 1. Okay, and in the same way I will take sub pack 2, from where I will copy div, and whatever we created now, sorry, whatever we created now, we created pack 1. So I'll move things into sub pack 2, div into sub pack 2. Okay, so now I hope we have organized our code. What was our requirement of organization? I need to create a main package with the name pack 1. Then what I have to do, inside pack 1, I have to create 2 packages called as sub pack 1, sub pack 2. Inside sub pack 1, I have to place the Python file, or we can term it as a module called as calci. And within the sub pack 2 package, we have to place in a module called as div.py. So we have done it. Okay, so now pack 1 contains, pack 1 is a package, sub pack 1 is a package, sub pack 2 is a package. So we have defined 3 packages which are related to each other. So this is the process of creating packages and modules. Okay, so the first step in organizing a code. It goes in this way. After your project has been defined, divide the processes within your project into smaller tasks, and for each and every task you create a package, and within that package you place in your modules. So this is what you do if you create your own packages and modules for your project. So after doing this, I've just shown all these stuff. After doing this, what we have to learn is how to use the modules defined within a package. Okay, I have defined two modules over here called as calc and div. Both the modules are containing only function definitions. So those function definitions can be termed as objects over here. Okay, so a module containing a set of objects. So நான் உங்களுக்கு காட்டியிருக்கிற object example வந்து function. உள்ள இருக்கிற ஆப்ஜெக்ட் வந்து ஒரு வேரியபிளா கூட இருக்கலாம். ஓகே, ஒரு டிக்ளரேஷன் ஆஃப் அ வேரியபிளா கூட இருக்கலாம், இல்லனா ஒரு கிளாஸா கூட இருக்கலாம். Okay, you will be learning what is meant by class in your module 2. Okay, a package can be collection of modules, and in one single module you can contain variables. Okay, you can contain functions, you can contain classes. All these are termed as objects of that particular module. Okay, so now the question is, I have a module called as calc1. Okay, calc, I have a module called as div. Both these modules are containing objects called as functions within it. Okay, so if I am writing a code, okay, within my package which needs these definitions to be used, what I can do, what I have to do, நான் வந்து புதுசா ஒரு பைத்தான் ப்ரோக்ராம் எழுத போறேன். அந்த பைத்தான் ப்ரோக்ராமை .py ஃபைல்ல தான் சேவ் பண்ணுவேன். இப்போ அந்த பைத்தான் ப்ரோக்ராமுக்கு இந்த மாடியூல் கால்சின்ற மாடியூல்குள்ளேயும் டிவ்ன்ற மாடியூல்குள்ளேயும் இருக்கிற ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸை யூஸ் பண்ற அவசியம் வந்துடுச்சுன்னா how I can do it? That is the question over here. How to use the modules that is being defined within your package whenever a necessity comes in. ஒரு மாடியூல் டிஃபைன் பண்ணிட்டா கண்டிப்பா அதை யூஸ் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ற இதை நான் எம்பசைஸ் பண்ணல. If there is a necessity, how you have to actually use it is what we are going to do it. Okay, what we are going to learn now. So what we are going to learn, if you define objects within a module, how to access those module objects. How do I access it? It's clearly shown in your screen over there by importing the module within that particular file. இப்போ நான் என்ன பண்ண போறேன், உங்களுக்கு ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் நான் காட்டினேன். எனக்கு வந்து மாடியூல் f1. இப்போ நம்ம கேஸ்ல கால்சின்னு ஒரு மாடியூல் இருக்கு. ஓகே, ஸோ இந்த கால்சின்ற மாடியூல்ல இருக்கிற ஃபங்க்ஷனை நான் இன்னொரு .py குள்ள யூஸ் பண்ணணும்னா, ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஃபைல் 1 அப்படின்னு வச்சுக்கிறேன். இந்த f1 குள்ள கால்சியில இருக்கிற இந்த மல்டிப்ளிகேஷன் ஃபங்க்ஷனை நான் யூஸ் பண்ணணும்னா, what I have to do is I have to import calc inside f1. Is it clear? If I want to use function function mul, okay, which is in calc, then what I need to do, import calc in f1. That's the point. Okay, you have to import it. So that and the terminology பேர் வந்து importing. அந்த மாடியூல்ல இருக்கிற objects if you want to access, then I have to import that module within this particular file. So for that purpose, the keyword that we use over here is called as import. Okay, so there are different ways of using this import statement. So we will concentrate on the basic stuff. We have to import the module. Okay, so import calc. Is it clear? Okay, but to be very clear, you have to give the correct path in which calc is present. Okay, so this is what we have to do. If I want to use those modules defined within a package, then I have to import that module. This is what you have to understand as of now. So the next thing that you have to understand over here is, if I say that you're going to import a module within a file, okay, you're going to import a module within a file, how the interpreter searches for the file. இப்போ நான் உங்களுக்கு சொன்ன மாதிரி I'll just show you. If I'm writing a new file, if I'm creating a new file over here, I'm just showing you, and I'm putting a statement import calc. I'm just showing you. I'm putting a statement import calci within this Python file as my first line of this code. So when a Python interpreter sees this, okay, when a Python interpreter sees this, it comes to know that since the import statement is present over here, it will come to know that calci is actually a module. So it's a .py extension file. So my Python interpreter has to proceed with the search of this calci.py. Is my screen visible? Hello.
No, ma'am.
Not yet,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So one sec. There is a disconnectivity in my laptop, so I'm checking it. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'll be back. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. One sec. With my presentation. I don't know why I lost connection. Okay, I'll continue. I think I was just now the connection got disconnected, I think. So you people were moving on with me, following me on what I was speaking. Can I get a reply?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I'll move on with this. So whenever I write a statement called as import, which is being followed by a module name, what my Python interpreter will do over here is will go search for that module. Okay. So now the question is from where it will start its searching process. We know how searching actually takes place within a computer. Whenever we try to search for a specific file whose folder we have forgot, we will tell search in C drive, search in D drive, something like this. In the same way, a Python interpreter should also know from where it will be searching, where it will start its search for this particular module. Okay, so the search can be done from the following sources. That's what I'm going to answer over here. So from the directory, okay, so you would have written a script, no, இந்த import இந்த ஃபைல் இப்ப நான் எழுதுறேன்ல import calcine இந்த ஃபைல் எழுதுறேன்ல, இந்த ஃபைல் எந்த டைரக்டரியில இருக்கோ அந்த டைரக்டரியில சர்ச் ப்ராசஸ் நடக்கலாம். அல்ல according to your interactive mode at present in which directory you are there, அங்க இருந்தும் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகலாம். ஓகே, இல்லனா it will search all the directories which are present in your Python path. Python pathல என்னென்ன directories சொல்லிருக்கீங்களோ அங்க எல்லா இடத்துலயும் search பண்ணலாம். Okay, and at the time of installation, what are all the directories that you have listed? All those directories can also, the Python interpreter can continue with its searching process. So it can either search only the directory in which the input script is present, or it can search in the current directory, or it can search in all the directories which are present in your Python path, or it can also search in all the directories which are being listed during your Python installation. So everything matters over here. So these stuffs are very important when you try to write your import statement. Okay, important வெறும் module name மட்டும் கொடுத்தா சில இடத்துல பத்தாது. Module not found அப்படின்னு ஒரு error throw பண்றதுக்கான வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. So we people have to clearly understand from where the search actually, where and all a Python interpreter can do its searching process. So these are the four list of directories where your Python interpreter can actually proceed with the searching process. Okay, so I will move on directly with this packages, how to import a module name by writing a very simple code. Okay, so what code I'm going to write show over here is very simple. So now I am going to, we have created a package called as pack1. Okay, so inside this pack1 I have two subdirectories, sub1, subpack1, subpack2. So within this subpack1 I have my calc, and inside this you have your div. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, within this same package called as pack1 itself, I am going to write a code. அப்ப இங்க நான் ஒரு code எழுத போறேன். ஒரு ஃபைல், பைத்தான் ஃபைல் கிரியேட் பண்ணி அந்த பைத்தான் ஃபைல்குள்ள இந்த modules import பண்ண போறேன். Okay, so for that purpose I've written it already, so I'll go take it and come. So inside package1 already I've created one. So we have a file called as sampy. So I'll take that and I'm going to put it inside pack1. Okay, so now the thing that I have to understand is I'll open pack1 first. Sorry, file open. I will open inside pack1. I got a file called as sampy. I will open it. Okay, so what is the content of this sampy is what you are going to understand now. Okay, so my input script, now tell me, this is my sampy is my input script. Okay, so what is my where is my input script present? I'm telling this as my input script. Sampy.py is my input script. Okay, so here where I am going to import my modules, I've shown you directly. Now my question is, sampy is present within which package? Pack1. Okay, clear. Now tell me, calc is present inside which package? Calc is present within which package? I want answers. Subpack1. Okay, so subpack1 is present. Subpack1 is present inside which package? Subpack1 is present within pack1. Okay, so now let us consider our Python interpreter searches only the input script directory. Okay, it's performing the search process in the input script directory. So input script directory are pack1. Okay, அந்த pack1ல இருக்கிற subpack1க்கு உள்ளதான் உங்களுடைய calc module இருக்கு. அந்த pack1ல இருக்கிற subpack2ல தான் உங்களுடைய div இருக்கு. இப்போ என் இன்புட் ஸ்கிரிப்ட் pack1ல இருக்கிறதுனால pack1ல தான் சர்ச்சிங் ப்ராசஸ் நடக்கும். ஸோ pack1குள்ள கால்சியும் டிவும் நம்ம கிட்ட இருக்கா? டைரக்டா இல்ல. pack1ல இருக்கிற இன்னொரு பேக்கேஜ்குள்ள தான் கால்சி இருக்கு. pack1ல இருக்கிற இன்னொரு பேக்கேஜ்குள்ள தான் div இருக்கு. ஸோ ஐ ஹாவ் டு, எப்படி ஃபோல்டர் நேம் கூட உங்களுடைய modules combine பண்ணீங்களோ அதே ப்ராசஸ் தான். ஸோ இஃப் ஐ வாண்ட் டு இன்வோக், இஃப் ஐ வாண்ட் டு இம்போர்ட் div, how I have to name, how I have to import div? Div is present. Okay, என் search, என் Python interpreter என்ன பண்ண போகுது? என் Python interpreter என்ன பண்ண போகுது? Searching process it will do where the input script is present. Input script is present in pack 1. So pack 1ல தான் முதல்ல போய் calci இருக்கான்னு தேடும். ஆனா pack 1ல calci கிடையாது. அப்போ என்ன ஆயிடும்? நான் வெறும் import calci கொடுத்தேன்னா it will throw an error. What I'm saying, if I put import calci over here, it will throw me an error. Why it is throwing an error? Because calci is not directly present within pack 1. So but calci is present inside pack 1 only, but inside a subdirectory. So now what I will do, what is my subdirectory in our case? Sub pack 1. So sub pack 1 dot in the package kulla, okay, dot operator use panni we have to mention the module name. So sub pack 1 dot div, this becomes my module name. So this completely becomes my module name. Now the Python interpreter knows in the dot கடைசியா இருக்கிற
Ma'am,
yes,
subpack 2 then a div.
yeah, subpack 2 is div and subpack 1 இதுல என்னோட Python interpreter, what my Python interpreter will do is it will go find the last name. Okay, this last name becomes the module name. All the other stuffs which are before this dot, okay, you can have many dots. How many packages எத்தனை sub packages இருந்தாலும் உள்ளுக்குள்ள இருந்தாலும் அத்தனையும் packages நேமா இருக்கும். கடைசியா வர வேர்ட் மட்டும்தான் மாடியூலோட நேமா இருக்கும். Okay, so import, what is the statement I have to put? Import subpack2.div import subpack1.calci is what I have to actually give in order to import calci and div inside this program. Okay, இப்போ நான் இங்க as அப்படின்ற இந்த keyword எதுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கேன்? நான் using this as keyword we am trying to give an alternative name. இந்த பேரு ரொம்ப பெருசா இருக்கு. அதாவது நான் calci module ரெஃபர் பண்ணனும்னா இந்த full name sub underscore pack 1 dot calci அப்படின்னா ரெஃபர் பண்ணணும். இட்ஸ் a very big name. Okay, so நான் எங்கெங்கெல்லாம் இந்த calci மாடியூல்குள்ள இருக்கிற ஆப்ஜெக்ட்ஸை யூஸ் பண்ணணும்னா நான் இவ்வளோ பெரிய பேர் கொடுத்து தான் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியும். Okay, so to avoid that I give an alternative name for it. Okay, so what I have done in this code, I have got two strings from keyboard. Okay, I've got two integers from keyboard. I'm just performing, I want to perform an addition operation. So to perform the addition operation, what I'm doing, C is what? C is my calci module. I have given an alternative name to my calci module, which is being termed as C over here. So C dot, if I want to access the objects which are present inside my calci module, I have to use my dot operator. So dot, what is my function name? Add. So for the function add, I have to pass two arguments, number 1 comma number 2, and finally I'm printing the result. Okay, so if I run this module, so it is asking me to enter the first number. So 12, 13, my result was 25. So now you know how many modules, the entire code is not present within your single file. Okay, inside SAMPy, you just invoked a function which is present in another module. So if I want to use a function of another module or any other object of another module, within this particular module I have to import that module. Okay, so on the process so this is how you have to work with user defined function. Okay, this is how you will be working with. Hope it's clear. So we will be having all those examples shown in our PPT. So if I want to use the object of one module, I have to import that module into my module or my file. Okay, this is how you will work out. This is how you will work out with your import statements. So next, what we are getting into today's session is about, we're going to learn about a very simple import, sorry, very simple, one sec. Okay, we are going to work out with very simple built-in module which has been termed as random. Okay, so this module, what is the work of this module is, I'll take another 10 minutes. So this module is actually used to generate. Okay, so you would have implemented a pseudo random number generator. You people all know what is meant by generation of a random number. Whenever I invoke that function called as random, a new number will be generated within a specific range. Okay, so this random, okay, random is actually a module. Okay, so this is a module which is a built-in module present in Python. So now we are going to learn about the different functions which are present inside this random module and how it is being used. Okay, so we will move on directly. So random modules, first I'm going to discuss about the random function. So I'll move on with your interactive mode of Python, and we will just directly discuss. So here, the first step to use the random module, I need to import it. Okay, so import random. So what has happened? My interactive mode has just quietly replied me, I have imported this module over here. Now you can use all the functions related to random. Okay, so random is actually a module which has a set of functions within it. Those functions can be utilized to generate random numbers. So the first function that we're going to discuss over here is called as random is the module name. So to invoke its function, the first function that we're going to discuss is called as random. Function oda peru random. And the function I invoke பண்ணனும்னா dot operator use பண்ணனும். Okay. So now what happened? A random number has been generated over here and it has been displayed. So what is the functionality of this random function? அதாவது module பேரும் random. Okay, function பேரும் random. Okay, so in the random function the functionality என்னன்னா, it will generate a random number between 0.0, okay, and 1.0. So it will generate a number between 0.0 and 1.0 float numbers. 0.0 க்கும் 1.0 குள்ள இருக்கிற numbers உடைய float valuesல ஏதாவது ஒரு நம்பரை randomly generate பண்ணும். For example, if I'm doing it again, okay, a new number has been generated. So if I invoke it again, a new number has been generated. So randomly it will generate a number between 0.1 and 1.0. Okay, so the other set of we'll discuss one by one. It's very simple. All the functions utility is very simple to understand. Second function that we are going to discuss is called as rand int. Okay, so when I gave you an example about when I discussed about the functionality of random, it was generating a random number between 0.0 and 1.0. Float number will be generated, but if I don't want a float number to be generated, I want an integer to be generated, so I can go ahead use this function called as randint. So what randint will do is it will take two arguments for sure. It will take two arguments as a range. Okay, so this range is inclusive range. So when I say inclusive range, number 10 is also included, number 20 is also included. So rand int will take two arguments. One argument, the starting point of the range, and the second argument is the ending point of the range. The starting point and ending point has been involved in this random number generation. So 10 ல இருந்து 20 வரைக்கும் உள்ள இருக்கிற நம்பர்ல ஏதாவது ஒரு நம்பரை ரேண்டமா எனக்கு ஜெனரேட் பண்ணி காட்டும். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 17 ஜெனரேட் பண்ணிச்சு, அடுத்த வாட்டி 12 ஜெனரேட் பண்ணிச்சு, இப்போ 19 ஜெனரேட் பண்ணிச்சு, அகெயின் இட்ஸ் ஜெனரேட்டிங் 19, then 14. Okay, so this goes on. How many times I invoke it can generate. So now I said it's an inclusive range. So when I say it's an inclusive range, it actually means the number 20 is also a part of it. So number 20 is also generated as a random number. So this is the purpose of randint. So the next function that you have over here is called as random choice. So random.choice, for random.choice, what you have to actually pass is you have to pass a list of numbers. For example, 1 comma 6 comma, where I am, 1 comma 6 comma double quotes la high comma 0. Okay, I'm just passing a list to it. So now what it will do is among the list of elements, it will make a choice and give me a random selection. So I had four elements inside my list, 1 comma 6 comma high comma 0. So randomly it will select. Now if I say it's selecting 1, now if I say it will select high, it depends, it will randomly select a number. So here for choice function you have to pass the list of elements. So in the list of elements you have to make a choice randomly and you have to give me a resultant. So that is the purpose of your choice function. So similar to that you have another function called as shuffle. So what is the purpose of this shuffle function? Is for example, let me create a list. L1 is equal to, I'm creating a list 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 2 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8. If this is my list, when I try to print my list follows insertion order. How in what way you have printed, so in what way you have inserted the elements will be ordered in that way. Okay, so 2 is the first element, 5 is the second, 6 is third, 7 is fourth, and 8 is 5. Suppose if I want to make a random shuffling over this list of elements, okay, so what I can do is I can use my random function, random dot shuffle of this list L1. So it will give me a result. Now my list 1 is shuffled. Okay, so now if I try to print L1, what happened? the insertion order goes away. It has shuffled the elements, and this becomes the order of my elements 7, 8, 6, 5, 2. It has shuffled. Now again, if I do a shuffle, it can go ahead with a random shuffle and give a the order of the elements will be rearranged. The elements will be rearranged within a list. If you want to randomly rearrange the elements within a list, you can go in you can go in with the usage of this function called as shuffle. This is there with respect to this random module. And similarly, you have another function called as rand range. Okay, so rand range also works similarly with rand int. Rand int took two arguments called as start and end. Okay, in that was an inclusive range. So here, if you consider rand range, it's not an inclusive range actually. It won't include the last two elements, but this will take three arguments. So if I'm using rand range, so random dot rand range of, I have to pass three arguments: start, end, and step value can also be included in random range. The third argument is optional. So I can say 10 comma 40 comma, I will put the ranges 2. So here, sorry, step as 2. So 10 and 10 ko 40 ko nadula with the step count 2, the elements will be randomly chosen. So 10 or 40 choose ஆகாது, அவங்க not included. So என்னெல்லாம் choose ஆகலாம்? 12, 14, 16, 18, all these values can be chosen over here. So numbers between 10 and 40 with a skip of 2 can be considered over here. So this is the purpose of random range. And finally, we have one more random function called as seed function. So what is the purpose of seed function is you fix a map over here. Map now, for example, I'll show it, then you will understand. Random dot seed of 4. Okay, after putting random dot seed of 4, I am invoking this random dot random. Okay, clear? So after putting random dot seed of 4, and if I try to say random dot random, it will generate a value called as 0.2. So random dot seed la neenga pass பண்ற argument 4 வந்து it's a mapper for this number called as 0.2. Okay, it's a mapper for this number called as 0.2360. Okay, so now if I again click random, it will show me another number. Now if I again put seed 4 and if I say random, the same number comes again. So seed use பண்ணா நம்ம generate பண்ண ஒரு random number திருப்பி அதே random number நம்ம generate பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சிட்டோம்னா, then I can use my seed function. Okay, if I want to do a customization over the generation of my random number, that is, if I want the same random number to be generated again, I can proceed with this mapping process. Mapping process என்ன, 4 என்ற number is always mapped with this 0.2. Okay, so whenever I invoke random dot seed and then I go ahead with random dot random, it will always give my same number. Okay, புதுசா ஒரு நம்பர் ஜெனரேட் பண்ணாது, அதே பழைய நம்பர் 4 ஓட மேப் ஆயிருக்கிற அதே நம்பரை திருப்பி திருப்பி அதனால ஜெனரேட் பண்ண முடியும். Okay, so these are the functionalities which are related to the random module which is present inside your Python. So in tomorrow's class, we will try to explore more modules. I will be exploring math module as well as date time functions related module in tomorrow's class. With this, we finish up today's class. You will be having only an MCQ to be solved in today's session, which is related to this packages and modules and this built-in module called as random. Okay, so exploring this module, இதுவரைக்கும் நீங்க பைத்தான்ல எவ்வளவு கத்துக்கிட்டீங்களோ, இந்த modules நீங்க புதுசா modules related to your own domain or discipline, if you try to learn it, it will be very useful when you want to support your students who are working with this Python modules for their project. Because simple modules நம்மளுக்கு தேவைப்படும், bigger modules நம்மளுக்கு தேவைப்படும். Okay, so this is very important part of your module 1 under this FDP, that is learning about different modules. I'll try to explore more modules as possible, but you have to explore yourself. There are many ஒரு whatever we learned. For example, if you say the topic called as data science, the domain called as data science, there are many packages for this domain called as data science. That within that package you have a numerous modules present which can be utilized for many purposes to analyze your data. If you have a data, if you want to analyze your data, you can use all the packages and modules related to that data science module. Okay, so with this I finish up with today's class. So kindly discuss about your quizzes with your laboratory teachers, and try to complete today's MCQ. And one more point I have to add over here is, kindly finish your MCQs or programs within the time that has been given, 3 to 4. Okay, so don't try to work it out at some other time, because you won't have your teachers. You can ping your teacher, get their help. Okay, but I don't know whether you people are getting it or not. But I have gone through, I have reviewed certain people's code. Okay, so you don't think we are not reviewing? We are reviewing, and we can see people who open a particular program by 11 o'clock and finish it by 11 too. And that is not at all possible. அந்த 2 நிமிஷத்துல அந்த கொஸ்டினை ரீட் பண்ணி அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்றதுக்கு தான் நம்மளுக்கு டைம் இருந்திருக்கும். டைப் பண்ணி முடிக்கிறதுக்குலாம் நம்மளுக்கு டைம் இருக்காது. ஸோ எவ்ரிதிங் யுவர் டிஜிட்டல் கஃபே வில் ரெக்கார்ட். ஸோ எவ்வளோ நேரத்துல ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் எழுதி முடிச்சிருக்கீங்கன்னு கூட எங்களுக்கு தெரியும். 2 நிமிஷத்துல முடிச்சீங்கன்னா எவ்வளோ எஃபர்ட் நீங்க போட்டிருக்கீங்கன்னு எங்களுக்கு தெரியும். ஸோ கைண்ட்லி ட்ரை டு அவாய்ட் சச் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ். Okay, so try to work it out by yourself so that you are actually getting some outcome out of this FTP. That is what we want. Okay, so thank you. If you have doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, you can proceed with your laboratory session. Thank you.